Well, summer vacation is here. I'm really excited for this year. I'm kicking it off with a nice week vacation with my family. So I'm recording this actually early so that you folks don't miss out on the great content that I'm putting out there these days. Thinking about going on vacation and prepping for it got me thinking about how important it is that in any business, there's always that one key person that just knows everything, understands how the business runs, who to talk to, what customers like and care about, and even everybody's lunch orders for when you do group events. And it points out how important those key people are. But there is one more thing, and this is kind of practical for me, is that I run a really tight system with a lot of agents running directly out of my home computer because the compute power is amazing. I bought everything before AI made things go skyrocketing in prices. So I have a really powerful computer and I run a lot of agents on it. But the fact is that I actually need to be at my desk to run a lot of those agents. I don't want to leave my computer open all the times that they run. And at the same time, I also don't want to not have them running. So anyways, that kind of gave me an idea about today's episode. And it's really important that I talk about how this works practically for people like you, people in your network. But number one is in my situation, I realized because of this running everything through my computer, I had to, when I'm on the road, I still have to do things like post my daily videos, record podcasts, do different things that I do on a day to day. And quite frankly, since I've been really invested heavily in this, I haven't actually gone on vacation. I know I really need it. Because of this, I recognize that I need to move more of my personal agents actually to the cloud. So the same cloud I use for my clients. And I kind of spent all week, coding things and reconfiguring stuff so that it can actually live on the cloud and it can operate while I'm away, while I'm doing other things, while I'm spending time with my family. Now, like I said, the kiddo just finished school last week and I finally get to spend some time with her before she goes away for the summer. And so we're going to the island, to Vancouver Island. We're going to stay with family and we're just going to enjoy the sights. Really cool. While that's happening, a lot of my agents are doing the work for me. So they're getting stuff prepared for me and tracking the market for the things I look for. They're automating some follow-ups that I might miss when I'm away. And instead of just that standard out of office thing that you get, people are still going to get engaged with the value driving services that I offer to them. Why that's important is that it kind of made me think of why I even got into the AI game in the first place. When I started SOS Signals, the whole reason behind it was that I was working with these two companies that were really good in their space. They were amazing at closing deals when they had them and giving their customers that white glove service. And they did that through high touch, high thought, deep thought, strong empathy, and really connecting with their buyers, understanding what mandates are pushing their decisions, what personality traits or norms or expectations are actually driving their business decisions when it comes to buying software, outsourced service, that kind of stuff. And quite frankly, the people that I'm talking about, they were amazing at their job and they were known in the industry for being that amazing. The challenge is that it effectively led them to be living out of suitcases. And when they weren't there, unfortunately, their knowledge and their connections and their tap into the industry left with them. So the people's back at the office, they weren't able to really get the same level of support that they would if they were in the office with them. And what that did was it actually made the rest of the team lacking that support and lacking that guidance and lacking that instant access to the organizational knowledge that actually drives their success. There was also a timing issue. Because they were on the road all the time, because they were so focused, they didn't have extra time to take on deals that weren't going to win. And they had their own kind of internal ways of gauging a deal, seeing if it's something that they actually want to bid on, seeing if it's something that they were going to win, seeing if it's something that if they are successful at the bid, that the operations team that executes is actually going to be successful with it. And they have that knowledge, but they also know that if they're not there to make the decision of going for the bid or not, exactly when it happens, then the rest of the team kind of has to guess, or they have to sit and wait for that text message while the other person is in the air or talking to somebody in a big sales meeting or something like that. And what I realized is that they don't really have the luxury of picking and choosing who they go after. They don't have the luxury of waiting until an RFP drops either. that got me to design SOS Signals to predict when RFPs are going to come up. So, future sales processes are going to come up. And it made it so that it kind of democratized it. Instead of that one person knowing when a deal is coming up, everybody across the team knows when a hot deal is coming up in their area. And just like if you were that insider, knowing exactly, somebody actually tells you, hey, we're thinking of launching an RFP in a few months, and we'd love your input, and inviting you to the table, this allows you to know exactly when that's going to happen based on strategic patterns that we see through our AI agent that analyzes the market, analyzes government agencies and their thought patterns, and it identifies triggers. Boom, this is one you need to look at right now. And then it gives guidance on how to reach out. What that did, it made it so that the entire team had that inside access that these key people had, even when they're on the plane, even when they're in the air, in the airport, talking to people at a conference, their system, their team is still getting that support as if they were there in person. What that did then is it gave their team so much more capacity so that they could actually work stronger, faster, better. They could get more deals faster and be there early so that they could influence the deals, shape criteria, and have a higher chance of winning. And it worked really well for them. What I learned through the process, though, this isn't about SOS Signals. This is about that key person is when they go on vacation. What do you do? Business shouldn't just stop. And what you have to do is remove that single point of failure. In a sales situation, it's very clear. If your top salesperson is not available, someone else has to take the reins. If there is no one else to take the reins, or the people that would aren't to the level that you need to serve that particular account, then it's a bottleneck. What you have to do is remove the point of failure. And this happens in any other space. In an example of healthcare, if you watch The Pit or you go to any hospital or any healthcare clinic, you'll know that wait rooms are a disaster. I saw on the news the other day that people are waiting up to 48 hours just to get seen by a nurse, just to go through the intake process, wait in line. Now, the single point of failure there, what I've learned from looking into this more, is that there are only so many doctors in the ER at any given time. And those doctors only have so much time with each patient. But patient treatment complexity is increasing massively. So not only do they have limited time, limited staff, limited budget, but they also have to deliver more service at the same time. So you can imagine this all converges to make that single point of failure, which is the reason why people are waiting for 48 hours in a waiting room at a hospital, and why some patients unfortunately are dying after waiting 8 hours just to see somebody. These are massive points of failure. For the sales team, you're missing bids that you could have otherwise had. You're wasting time on bids that aren't going anywhere. In the healthcare situation, in a wait room or any other organization that has any type of a wait room, the single point of failure is how many people you can see at a given time and how those people get triaged into it. What you do then is you identify there's always those key people. In the healthcare example, that's going to be the doctor, the head nurse, the triage person who's actually identifying where people need to go and trying to maximize the value of that time for the physicians and everybody involved in the whole process. They have these incredible abilities to just think on the fly, think on their feet, make sure that, if they see a certain person with a certain type of look, they know to push them through right away, fast track. They know that that person is worth talking to at a conference and that person is not. What you want to do is you want to take that organizational knowledge, input it into a system that can track that knowledge, apply it to things, validate why it works through third-party data, and have this system constantly running so that you can understand and learn on the fly. And you'd be amazed to learn what happens when you install a system like this. And it doesn't even have to be AI agents. It could be straight up API connections with your automation. But as long as you have a system that is constantly learning, storing memory, and actually doing something with it, then you're going to be able to share that organizational knowledge and put it in the fingertips of the people that actually need it on the day-to-day. I got a hint for you. It's not those key people that are already crushing it and leading the organizations. When you think about this, you're planning your team, you're building your team, you're trying to be successful at either growing revenue, supporting your staff, making sure customers have the best experience with you and your company. You know that in every department, they have one of these key people. In every company, they have these key people. So find ways to actually craft that organizational knowledge and put it into a centralized system where you can actually get it out to people really fast and in the timely fashion that they need it. This is why I'm so bullish on AI. This is why I've dedicated the next phase of my company to helping companies implement AI. It's because what I just described to you can be done with structured automation. It can be done with a really good spreadsheet and somebody managing it all the time. But as always, with those types of solutions, it's the person that is the bottleneck. It's the single person that knows how to run it that could be the bottleneck. And that is not long-term value for your company. That is not long-term success, because people retire, they get sick, they go on vacation, they win the lottery, they move to other companies. That's not to say the people aren't important. Actually, they're even more important in this case. This is not a case for replacing people with technology. It's a matter of taking what they do and taking their organizational knowledge, putting it into a system that can be in front of everybody, and everybody lifts in their performance. So all of the people become more valuable to your team, not less, because implementing a tool like this. Think about one single bottleneck that's costing you. Is it costing you time? Is it costing you money? Is it making you miss opportunities for new revenue or new strategic partnerships? Is the lack of people paying on time or at all holding you back from necessary cash flow to grow your business? These are all things that I want you to think about, and just think of one thing that's most important to you. Think of the person or people that make sure that one thing runs really well and where they're struggling to keep up, where they're overworked and they're overstressed and they're constantly chatting and texting and calling with people because they're running this massive system in their own brain. Just as a side note, even though those people are superstars, they're super stressed too. And stress leads to burnout, and it makes your system even higher risk. So look at that system, find the bottleneck, understand who is in charge, who is the one that's keeping that going, and ask them what kind of help they need. You'd be surprised. There's so much you can do to help them out in just a short term. And then maybe you want to put in a system just like I have.